Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Daniel from Maccabi, Canada, and welcome to our conversation with Ty Kelly. Before we begin, I want to thank our partners at the virtual JCC and the amazing producer, Jared Goldberg, behind the scenes. He makes us all look good. Now, on to our guest tonight. Ty Kelly is the second baseman for Israel's Olympic team. A former MLB player, Ty's career spanned the years 2016 to 2019 and included time with the Mets, Blue Jays, and Phillies. On the international scene, Ty first represented Israel at the 2017 World Baseball Classic, where he helped the 41st ranked Israel team stun the baseball world with wins over South Korea, Chinese Taipei, the Netherlands, and Cuba. A victory in the later tournament led to Israel qualifying for the Olympics, which will take place in 2021 in Tokyo. Off the field, Ty has become a staunch advocate for the rights of minor league baseball players, leading a movement to ensure that they are not neglected during this COVID-19 pandemic. So, without further ado, Ty Kelly.
Phil Regan, longtime pitching coach in the Mets organization. 3-1 coming, and Kelly hits one deep to right field, hit it toward the wall. It's out of here! Ty Kelly with his first major league home run. A two-run shot for Kelly ties the game. Now the Mets made a deal today for Kelly Johnson, but it's the other Kelly who provides the offense. First two big league RBIs coming with one swing. Ty Kelly's first home run, and the Mets get even.
Welcome, Ty. You looked pretty happy in that clip.
That was a big moment. That was home run number one, and it wasn't the last one. We don't have to get caught up in how many more I hit, but it wasn't the last, and that's all that matters. But yeah, that was amazing. It was a ridiculous moment, especially like I had sort of struggled up to that point, only in the league for like a month or a few weeks or so, and then to do that was pretty big for confidence and for my career.
And quite the ballpark to do it in.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So, that was always the thing about like when you're in the big leagues, it's just insane stadiums. They're so beautiful. Like, fans are going crazy at every game, no matter what. The whole atmosphere of everything in the big leagues is incredible. And especially there, it's so beautiful.
So how would the team commemorate that first home run?
So yeah, usually like your first whatever it is, you're going to get some kind of celebration after the game, depending on, hopefully you won, of course, and the team can be a lot happier. But there's always some kind of like shower ceremony or something like that where you're going to get some bunch of liquids, adult beverages thrown on you, and
PG-13.
Yeah, and various other, like, it really depends where you are. Guys can tend to go a little overboard with like bringing some ketchup and like a bunch of like mayonnaise sometimes in there, which is it's a bad choice. But guys need to switch it up and keep it fresh.
I guess we'll sometimes leave what happens in the locker room in the locker room.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move in this case. But for me, I got the ball, which was really cool. And then, and just a lot of congratulations from the team, which is I got the silent treatment also. If you've noticed that was sort of what I was like fired up about was, you want to experience all of the things that you see all the time. So when someone gets their first home run, a lot of times they'll get the silent treatment from everyone, and then like 5 seconds later, everyone will come over and give you a big congratulations. So yeah, that was a really cool moment.
So when the ball left your bat, did you know it was gone immediately? Did you take a moment to realize what was happening, or were you just fully in the moment?
I was, yeah. I think I knew that it was gone. I hit it well, and it's not super deep to right there or anything. So especially like with big league balls and the way stadiums are set up, when you hit a ball well, it's going to go. And yeah, I had hit some home runs in my time in the minors, and I think that like I'm usually confident that if I hit it that well, that it's going to go. But yeah, just running around the bases, is like probably the thing that I remember most about it. Just sort of like taking in all of the surroundings as I was, making my way around the base paths. So I sort of remember that as much as anything else, seeing the ball go up and then kind of, knowing that it's gone and then getting to enjoy your time in your jog around the bases.
That's absolutely awesome. So, Ty Kelly, not the most Jewish name out there. Tell us about your Jewish origins and how we get Ty Kelly ending up on Team Israel.
Yeah, I mean, it's, who's to say what's the most Jewish names? Ty Kelly, it could be one day. So my mom's side of the family is Jewish, and really, like, it's not like she has the most Jewish sounding, maiden name either. It was Keller. Like, she didn't make such a big change herself, marrying a Kelly, and so growing up, I really felt like I had, I had religions on both sides of the family, depending on who was around. Really, when my mom's family was around, it was all Judaism and learning about Jewish holidays and things like that. And then my dad's side of the family was around. It was all, Christianity. And so I sort of got like both worlds mixed together. And, and I think that was a pretty cool thing, getting, just taking in more culture, and getting to hear different sides of history, basically. So I think that at this point I really can appreciate that. But yeah, that's basically my Jewish upbringing, was sort of just, hearing at the holidays, the stories and having a little like Jewish child's storybook thing that I didn't even like remember I had until I went home recently and I saw that, and playing dreidel and doing all of those fun things. Those are like my Jewish childhood memories.
Those are the best memories. So I know I'm going to jump ahead of myself a little bit, but you spoke about your mother. In your first trip to Israel, you had the chance to spend it with her. So tell us about that trip and tell us how that experience was.
It was an amazing trip. We got a first class trip over there for sure. There was like 10 of us guys that were going to play for Israel for the World Baseball Classic. And we had, most of us had never even been to Israel. So we got basically a crash course, a birthright trip, in like 7 or 8 days. And we just crammed everything that we could in, kind of like a birthright trip. And of course, we got to stay at like the best hotels, in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. So it was a very easy trip also. But taking my mom was amazing because she had never been. And I think that, we were both very appreciative of the opportunity. One thing to be able to play for Israel, but the other to be able to go take this trip, for free to Israel and learn about both of our heritages, and just sort of experience history and be able to walk through, the towns and walk through the areas where everything in history happened and sort of rediscover, I think, for both of us, a big part of who we are. And it was just amazing getting to see like all the different sites, getting to see, where the Hatikva was played for the first time, when they were getting their independence, or when we were getting our independence, I guess I can say now. There's just so much history, and it was just, I don't know. I love history, so I'm like nerding out over just like how amazing it was.
It's fantastic. And of course, that trip was a precursor, as you mentioned, to the World Baseball Classic. So before we jump into that, Jared behind the scenes has the trailer of the incredible documentary yet to play, which you might have seen once or twice.
Every 4 years, Major League Baseball puts on the World Baseball Classic. the baseball equivalent to the World Cup.
It gives us a chance to see the best players in the world.
When I found out Israel was going to have a team, I thought it was a pipe dream. I never thought it was going to happen.
We've got Zai, we've got Baker, we've got Bleish.
Everybody needed to be Jewish, so there's no big name recognition.
Jason Markey, he was in Disneyland with his kids. He said, you know what? I'm looking to make a comeback, and maybe this could be the comeback.
We all have a chip on our shoulder.
I'm very excited. Should I look at you or should I look up there at the camera?
One. Mike Davis with a drive deep to right center field.
One thing about playing for Israel,
Mazel tov.
a lot of people don't like Jewish people.
I hope one day they'll have, a Palestinian team from throwing stones.
For those of you who don't know, there was a terror attack.
Oh my God.
Why you come here to Israel and not stay in America?
You guys are going to be Israeli warriors.
We were 200-1 favorites to win the World Baseball Classic.
For Team Israel, it's a chance for the underdog to get a crack at the big dog.
It's not about my career.
You guys aren't unknown anymore.
It's not about any of our careers.
And you thought all our people could do was finance.
It's about something bigger.
Can you please explain what the mensch to your right is?
That's Jerry Weinstein, my manager. Oh, this.
Now, I know you've seen that trailer on the movie many times. You also, of course, lived it. But for people that haven't seen it and are seeing that for the first time, tell us about the experience, about stepping onto the field with Israel on your chest at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, I as you know, I have seen the movie far too many times at this point, from traveling around, where we met for the first time in Montreal, able to watch it there, which was great. It's always great every time, getting to see the different crowd reactions to the games that we played in it, and finding out like if people in the audience that day are going to connect more with the baseball aspect of it or more with the religious aspect of it, is always such a cool thing, and makes it worthwhile, no matter how many times I've watched it. That makes it fun for me. But it was such a huge thing. I think that we all realized the more that we played and the more we had people, rallying around us, was what it meant to people outside of just the baseball community. People, whether from Israel, whether from America, from other places, who have Jewish heritage, who don't have Jewish heritage, people that were, that rallied around us as a team and what we stood for. And that was such a huge thing. And I think that, it's the big symbol of the whole thing is being able to wear the Star of David proudly, on our chest, on our sleeve, on our hat, and having all of those same people want to, buy that hat and be proud of, being able to wear that, and just how far things have come for that to be able to happen, over the last 70, 80 years or whatever, the change in what wearing that symbol meant, in the Holocaust and around that time, to being able to wear it proudly now, and for people of, different religions around the world to be able to wear it, and to be able, for it to just be a common thing, and not be a stigma, but be something that's cool. And for, especially for Jewish people to be able to wear it proudly is amazing. And it's, it's more than I ever thought my career would amount to. So yeah, it's just amazing to be able to be a part of that, and to be able to wear it proudly, and to be able to, be a source of pride for people. And that goes, far beyond baseball and far beyond what the rest of my career ever stood for.
Jews around the world are cavelling for the success of Israel baseball. So not only did it start in 2017, but you continued in 2018, 2019, winning the tournaments you had to win. And now Team Israel is one of 6 teams to qualify for the Olympics. So take us back to that moment when you guys qualified, and what was the atmosphere like in the locker room after that?
It was unbelievable. There was a lot of Omer Adam being played, a huge Israeli pop artist, I guess is probably the best way to describe him. So it was just such an amazing experience to be able to go to the qualifiers at all, and for the journey of of the team to come from the B pool, getting through Lithuania and Bulgaria, and then when I joined the team in Germany and then over to Italy, it was such a long journey for a lot of the guys, and everyone on the team has this special bond, and everyone is on the team because of their Jewish heritage. So it was just such a crazy a crazy like experience to go for all summer and not really sure like what's going to happen with the team. You're not sure how well the team's going to do, and then you end up we got to Italy, and we ended up beating all the teams that we had to, the Netherlands, beating Italy, beating Spain, and all like very good teams. So it was just, it's always interesting to see how everything comes together, not just from a baseball standpoint, but from like, this is a religious experience for a lot of people. We're all citizens of Israel now, so it's more than just baseball. And when you sort of like pull the layer of a bunch of baseball players going out and playing baseball back, and everyone realizes that they're playing for a lot more than just baseball, it just makes it that much more of a special experience. And you can see that through, in the reaction of all the players, guys crying and fans on the field and everyone celebrating together. It just shows, I think, what it means to everyone beyond just us winning a baseball tournament.
Of course. But it was the precursor for the biggest tournament in the world, the Olympics, that were supposed to take place this summer. And as we all know, due to the pandemic, they're delayed. So taking from the question, actually from my wife, how is the Olympics being delayed affecting you, both from a training perspective and a mental perspective?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm just thriving here in my apartment every day, just trying to stay ready, physically and mentally. I did an orange theory class today for the first time, and it went well. I'm in good enough shape to complete one of those, so it's a good start. I've got some weights here. I've got some 25 and 30-pound dumbbells. And I have some like a band set also. So that's really the way that I'm staying in shape right now. Obviously, I have a long way to go until the Olympics comes around. So it's very interesting. A lot of the guys on our team already were, either at the end of their career or already out of baseball, that came back to try and, make a push at the Olympics. And so there's a lot of guys on the team that are going to have to, myself included, who are going to have to figure out how to play next year, what the landscape of professional baseball will even look like by next year. And it should be interesting, but I mean, everyone is still really excited about it. It's just, it almost doesn't seem real still. It's like it was supposed to happen. Now it's, it's pushed back, and then everyone is like, we just want it to happen. So we're going to be ready for sure. But it's a long ways away. And also I just started, like really learning Hebrew for real. So that's exciting too, I guess. I had been learning Japanese for a while because I expected to go to Japan, and then so now that's pushed back. I had to make a decision a couple days ago whether I was going to commit to like a full year of learning Japanese for the week that or 2 weeks that I'm going to be there. And I was like, I'm just going to learn Hebrew. Like, I just learn Hebrew.
So can you answer the next question in Hebrew?
Oh, definitely not. This question on the screen here?
Either this question on the screen or the other one I've got teed up for you.
Okay, yeah.
So I'd like to know, so you mentioned that a lot of your teammates are at the end of their career. Do you expect turnover on the Olympic team? Or do you expect to add younger guys because of this, some minor league standouts? Or how is that going to affect the actual roster?
Right. Yeah, I definitely can't answer that in Hebrew. I would love to be able to, next time I come on, maybe I will be able to answer in Hebrew. But right now, all I can really say is like, I eat bread, or like he drinks milk, stuff like that. So I'm pretty solid with those, but I'm only 2 days in, so it's kind of a lot to ask. But I don't think the roster is going to change too much. I think that at this point, we added Ian Kinsler recently, which is huge. And, barring any other players like that asking to join, I don't think that the roster is going to change much. I think that it's a very delicate thing because, the guys that got us here, they're the guys that got us here. So there has to be something for that, for those guys. And but at the same token, everyone wants to win a medal. That's the goal, So it's very delicate, but I do think that where our roster is at now, as long as all the guys are healthy and playing and everything, that this is what we're going to go with, and we're confident that we can take home a medal.
It was in an article recently, one of your former Major League Baseball players, Bryce Harper, mentioned that he'd love for professionals to play in the Olympics. So what are your thoughts on that?
That would be great. I think that everyone on our team, obviously it hurts our chances of medaling because the best players in the world, but it's the Olympics. It's supposed to be the best players in the world, the best athletes of whatever sport it is. We want to play against those people. We want to play against those players. And I think that just as competitors, that's what we all want. It's supposed to be the best players in the world. The U.S. is going to have some of the best players in the world, as baseball, being the national pastime. And I think that we would relish the opportunity to take home a medal, and we want to beat the best players in the world to do that.
So you just mentioned that baseball is the national pastime, but it takes a lot of work, years and years of hard work to get to the professionals, to get to Major League Baseball. And a lot of players like yourself have spent decades in the minor leagues trying to make it there and never make it there. And so recently, as I mentioned in the intro, you've done a lot of work advocating on their behalf. So tell us first off, what's it like being a minor league ball player? And then why is it so important for you to take up their cause?
It's tough. Being a minor leaguer is tough. I was a minor leaguer for close to 10 years. And there are a lot of very difficult things about being a minor leaguer. You're getting paid almost nothing. Everything is set up for you to fail. It's very much survival of the fittest. And the fact that, that teams don't have to pay players for guys to continue playing baseball and continue coming in and asking for opportunities, because they realize that when they get to the big leagues, or if they get to the big leagues, they're going to reach their dreams and make enough money to survive. So it's a lot of guys are willing to sacrifice, years and years out of their lives and put everything that they have into the game of baseball to try and get to the big leagues. And at the end of the day, these are employees of an organization, and they should be treated fairly and paid a fair wage. A lot of at the lowest levels of the minors, you're getting $7,500 for the entire year. You're getting paid over 5 months. Don't get paid at spring training. You don't get paid for instructional leagues, and you're getting paid sometimes like $4 an hour. Like you can be at the field for 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're just making no money, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and cramming 6 guys into a 3-bedroom apartment. And I've done all of those things. I was in low A, one of the lowest levels for 2 full seasons, and just like you're skipping meals a lot of times to save money. At the field, there's almost nothing to eat. As fingers from the stadium can stand every day, and you're just, you're forced to figure out how to survive first, and then you're asked to be a high-level professional athlete, and so it can be very difficult. I could go on forever, all of the list of everything that I went through and that other guys are going through, and so that's why that's what sparks people to speak up. And now that I'm out of minor league baseball and Major League Baseball, it's a lot easier to speak up without the fear of being released at the first sign of dissension. So it's really cool to be part of a new organization that's standing up for guys, because there has just been no one advocating for them for ever, basically. So it's a really cool opportunity, and I hope that things change soon.
That picture you tweeted about your sandwich at spring training, it's gone viral. It was featured in the New York Times. There it is on the screen right now. So this was a typical lunch for you as a minor leaguer?
Yeah, so that's spring training. And minor league spring training, basically that's lunch. In different organizations do things differently, but in my experience in the minors, it's basically that sort of sandwich. This is definitely one of the more pathetic looking ones that I had ever come across. So pathetic looking that I took a picture of it. And I never expected to tweet it or anything like that. And it's sort of just, I was like, being part of this advocacy group, I was like, oh, I completely forgot that I have this thing. And I just tweeted it one day. And a lot of people were upset. And I think a lot of people just don't understand what it's like. It's that sandwich, and then there's like an apple and a Nutri-Grain bar. And for that organization, there was also a Go-Gurt, which I don't know if Go-Gurt was big in Canada, but huge in like the 90s here in America. But these are professional athletes and not third graders. So they can definitely do better. But yeah, I mean, that's the minors, like in a nutshell. And I think a picture like that sort of sums it up better than, better than any stats or anything else that we could ever show.
That's incredible. So contrast that for us to when you got called up to the majors for the first time. How did your life change?
Yeah, so I mean, it's easy to contrast the two for sure. I always tell the story now of like, what was the difference getting called up? So the first day I got called up, I went to Washington, D.C., played against the Nationals, and we're staying at a Ritz-Carlton. So in the morning, I wake up to go eat with, a friend, another guy on the team. And we go to the hotel restaurant to get breakfast, and I get like a $20 omelet with a coffee, and you're just like, I can afford this now. It's not like I was like broke before that or anything, but it's just like, I have money because you're making like after taxes, like $1,500 a day or something like that on minimum wage. So, I mean, like a $20 meal is easy. And then like going to the field is the same thing. There's like 4 chefs in the visitors clubhouse, and you just ask for something basically, or there's a menu and you can just ask for whatever you want. Where like in the minors, you go to the field and you're lucky if there are like any snacks or anything, or like you're making PB&Js for yourself constantly, because that's all there is. So it's just a huge, like, everything is the complete opposite end of the spectrum from the minors. And yeah, I mean, especially like at home, like when I first got called up with the Mets too, the spreads that they had were ridiculous. Like it's an embarrassment of riches, of like steak and lobster after games, and different cakes every day. And yeah, it's such a different lifestyle, and it's very addicting to show up to the field every day and see like 3 different sandwiches that you can choose from, and different, like, you know, like 3 styles of chicken wings, and then, you know, like I said, after the game, a bunch of cake and stuff. And yeah, it's just ridiculous.
And for those who aren't really familiar with the intricacies of any sport, I mean, the food is your lifeblood. That's what keeps you going. So you need all of these proteins, all of these sugars to make sure that you stay in the shape to play professional ball. So, of course, that's a huge contrast.
Yeah,
Speaking of your time,
I like that you're justifying the sugars with the different types of cake there. I don't know if that's necessary, but a lot of the other stuff for sure.
Trying to make you look good. Speaking about the Mets, Dylan O'Shea asks, how does it feel to be the last postseason based hit in Mets history?
It feels really cool. It's such a, like, I mean, it was so long ago now, like 2016. You know, yeah, that's a long time in sports years. So it's really cool to still have that. Obviously, like, it's, you know, it's inevitable. It's going to be broken one day. The trivia question right now, but it is really cool. It's cool to have a moment like that in my career, because there's so many good players that don't get to the postseason, and I did it in my first year. You know, the fact that I was on a really good team, getting called up in the middle of the year, and then you know, helping at least a little bit to get to the playoffs, and then just the fact that I got into the game too, and you know, as a pinch hitter, you're only getting one opportunity to get a hit, so very cool. Also, was against the Giants. I grew up in Northern California, so all my friends are Giants fans, which was insane that they're all going crazy for the Giants, and then they talk about how they're in like a San Francisco bar, and I get a hit and they go crazy, and everyone's like looking at them like they're out of their minds, and they're just like, he's our friend, like don't worry about it, like, we're still rooting for the Giants. Yeah, there were so many cool things. And then I guess like one last thing that's really cool about it was, like, before the game, so these rosters in the wild card games, they don't include any of the starting pitchers. They'll include like one starting pitcher who's starting that day. And then they can load up, you know, the other spots on the roster with guys like me, like utility guys, and, you know, maybe an extra bullpen guy or something. But it's only a 1-game roster, so you set your roster for that. So they basically told me that the only way I was going to play was if I pinch hit against George Contos, a righty, or Will Smith, a lefty, and then like neither of them had to come in. Bumgarner went 9 innings, but it was, yeah, so it was even crazy. Like, I didn't expect to play. They told me I wasn't going to play, and then to get that opportunity and succeed is, yeah, it was insane.
That's awesome. That's so very, very cool. Not as cool as the Olympics, I hope, but that's still incredibly cool. Touching on, you just mentioned the Mets in the postseason. We'll take it back to today. So the MLB just released their proposal for a potential season starting on the 4th of July. It includes 14 teams in the postseason, so expanded postseason, 30-man active rosters, and an 82-game schedule. So tell us about your thoughts, and what do you think of the prospects for an upcoming season?
Well, I mean, I think as long as they can ensure that they have all of the health precautions, you know, taken care of, then it's great. But obviously it's very difficult just knowing what they're going to do if someone tests positive at some point, how they're going to handle that, like how they're going to ensure going in that everyone's safe, all of the travel or whatever else that goes into it. I think at the end of the day, like, of course, everyone wants baseball to come back. We want sports to be back and everything to be normal. But, we don't want to sacrifice lives or the health of, families or anything like that to get there. So, hopefully they've done their due diligence with all of the, the health precautions. And as long as they can, figure out all of those things and have good systems in place, ready to go, then I think everyone will be on board with it. But, these are human beings at the end of the day, and they have families, and, they want to be there for their families to be able to support them, especially in the middle of a pandemic. So, yeah, so I mean, I think we have to care about the health of everyone first and foremost. And then once we have figured that out, then baseball will be back and we can get back to enjoying it.
How would you feel if you're would be given this proposal as a player? Would you feel comfortable playing? Would you be on board with it?
Well, like I said, like, I know that I saw Sean Doolittle had a really good Twitter thread of things that he's looking for in the proposal, and just, like I was saying, just making sure that all of the systems to ensure everyone's health and safety are in place, then everyone is going to be on board. So at this point, like, they can set dates and things like that, but they have a lot of other things to figure out. So I don't have a family like that I would have to be with all the time, as far as like wife and kids or things like that. So I know for a lot of the guys, that's a big factor in whether or not they want to get things going, is just ensuring that they can be around their families and ensuring that they're not going to put their families in harm's way.
So just to clarify, we're now talking to a Olympian who is Jewish and single, for everyone watching at home.
Yeah, absolutely. We can kind of talk more about that throughout it. Also, we'll just every once in a while, like if you want to put up like my dating app profile, that works too.
Living in a nice apartment in Los Angeles.
Well, yeah, it started out nice, but now it's an absolute disaster. Since I am just in here all day, every day, things just begin to accumulate all over the apartment. Fortunately, you guys can't see, the floor in front of me, because it's a series of T-shirts that I'm selling, and that I, of course, am selling right out of my apartment here. So, so everything has accumulated over the last couple of months.
So I'm glad you actually brought it up with the T-shirts and the sweet potato ties. Talk to us about the shirts. Talk to us about how this started and how important it is to you.
Yeah, so it started as a tweet, and it's now a shirt, which is insane. The cool thing about fulfilling the orders out of my apartment is I get to see where everyone is from. So I get to see like people ordering from all over the US, and people, talking to me on Twitter about wanting orders in other countries and things like that. And it's crazy to think that like this thing that I tweeted that I ended up putting on a shirt, that people are buying it. It's just like a very weird feeling, but of course it says pimping home runs doesn't matter. The planet is dying. So it's a climate positive or climate forward message, and also a let's have fun in baseball positive message. And I think that those are a couple of things that, a lot of people care about and that I care about. And fortunately, from the proceeds, I've been able to donate a lot of money to various charities. And it's been a really cool experience, just starting with a tweet and then being at this point and able to hopefully do something positive for various charities and for the planet.
That's incredible. So where can everyone listening get these T-shirts?
Shopify. Yeah, or you can just go to one of my social medias, or you can go to it's like Shopify.com, and then look up sweet potato ties. That is what I chose for the website name. And yeah, or you just go to one of my social media pages, Ty Kelly 11, and yeah, and the links are on there, and you can order one up, and yeah, and I can send it out very quickly because they're all within my reach right now.
That's amazing. And Jared, behind the scenes, will make sure that your social media will be scrolling on the bottom any second now. A question from Jordan online. Ty, what is or was your greatest baseball accomplishment to date?
Greatest baseball accomplishment. I mean, I think it's probably got to be, getting to the Olympics is, I think that as far as from a team standpoint, has to be the biggest baseball achievement. I mean, that's probably not like my personal biggest baseball achievement, because it was a lot of other guys that helped us get there. Danny Valencia and Nick Rickles and a bunch of all of our pitching staff, like everyone on the team, played such huge roles in getting us through the qualifiers. But I think that's got to be, like, from a team standpoint, the biggest accomplishment. It's just, yeah, it's the Olympics. Like, it's such a huge thing. If I had to pick like something maybe that I'm most proud of personally in baseball, I think that probably I hit a grand slam in San Francisco, and I think that's probably like the coolest moment of my career, just because it was in San Francisco, and like I said, all my friends were they were at the game for that one, cheering for the Giants, but of course cheering for me also. And then like having family at the game. I think that was probably personally like the coolest experience as far as like atmosphere and just having family and friends at the game.
Was that home run a splashdown?
No, unfortunately not, which would have been really cool. I hit it in like the perfect spot for it too. I hit it pretty much right down the line, but it landed on on the deck or whatever, wherever that like one strip of stands are, but still very cool.
Definitely. So Howard actually wants to know about Eric Holt and how he's impacted your experience on Team Israel.
Yeah, he's our fearless leader, and he's been great. I think that he did a really good job at taking the new players, especially like when the other guys I mentioned, Danny Valencia, Nick Rickles, Benny Wanger, and myself, we all showed up in Germany, and being able to manage, a changing roster, and guys like a guy like Danny, who's got 8 years of big league time, and just being able to manage a very like diverse group of players as far as like baseball experience, and guys that have only been in the minors, guys that are in indie ball, guys that have tons of big league experience, like managing a lot of different personalities, and being able to understand like what to tell certain players, how far to push on certain players. I think that that's a really difficult thing, and something that he adjusted to very well. He was able to to listen to the more veteran guys on the team, and kind of take a step back from maybe like wanting to be involved in every part of coaching, because at a certain point, like, you have to let your players play. And I think the more that he realized that, like, we're all learning together, and I think that that's such a huge part of being the manager, is dealing with your players and knowing like who needs a push and who needs, for you to just be like, I have all my trust in you, go out there and play, you're going to be fine. So I think that like that's something that he really did well in the qualifiers, and he continues to kind of like manage those sorts of personalities well.
Awesome. And we'll turn the question around on Eric, because he's our guest next Tuesday night, and we'll ask him all about Ty Kelly.
Oh yeah, that should be interesting.
Brian, as you see on the screen, wants to know, who is the one pitcher, past or present, you would love to face?
That's a good question. I think that the first person that comes to mind is Scherzer, even though he's present. Like the fact that I never got to face him for some reason, I don't know. I just wish that I had been able to see how good he is. I played for the Mets. I played for the Phillies, so I was in the same division for 3 spring trainings, and then for parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues. And I never faced him once. I faced Strasburg. I faced Gio Gonzalez, other guys in the Nationals throughout those years, but I never faced Scherzer, and he's like, I don't know. There's just something about getting to face some of those guys. Scherzer, like Verlander, I never faced, but you watch them from the side, and like obviously they deal every time they go out. So I sort of wish that I could have faced some of the more elite pitchers like that I saw pitch, but I was never able to like get in the game against, basically.
Great question, great answer. Have you had a chance to watch the Korean baseball on ESPN lately?
A little bit, yeah. I watched a few days ago. It's awesome. I think like the coolest thing is probably that those guys are getting to be like superstars right now. Like they're superstars in Korea, throughout the year, which is amazing. Like, that they get to be big leaguers over there, but they don't get to be like worldwide big leaguers the way that they are right now, where you've got people from like every country tuning in, especially in the States, like they have people all over the world tuning into their games and treating their games, picking allegiances and sort of like being emotionally invested in those games and in the players. I think that's awesome because it's high level baseball, and it's really fun to watch. Like it's a different style of baseball from what we have in the States. So it's really cool for them, and it's cool to watch, a different brand of baseball basically. And it's just exciting to see any sports on TV, of course. But especially exciting for those guys to get to have this experience.
You mentioned it's high-level baseball and a different brand of baseball. How do you think these players would do coming over to the major leagues? Some have made it, but some, of course, have not.
Well, yeah. So like they usually say that it's like AAA baseball, and I like that was sort of what sparked me to think like it's just different. I think the way that they pitch and the way that they hit and like their approach and things like that is just different from what we have. So like, granted, they don't have tons of guys throwing like high 90s or anything like that, but it's just a different game. And I think that they would succeed for sure. Like it's just a matter of who you're playing against and what opportunities you're getting. Like there are so many guys, like assuming that it is a AAA level league, like there's so many guys in AAA in affiliated baseball that would go to the big leagues and succeed immediately. I'm not saying like they would be superstars by any means, but definitely they could compete. And and it's just different. So it's fun to get to watch like a different style of baseball too. But yeah, I think that they would all compete, and maybe they're all, I guess we'll find out in the Olympics also. We already know that Korea can't compete with Israel when it comes to baseball. So that's really all that matters.
I think Koreans might take exception to that, and you might just give them some bulletin board material.
That's all right. We'll take care of them. No problem. Just like 2017, they all remember it. It's great baseball. All levity aside, of course. And it's just great to watch anything right now.
Awesome. So I'll get you out of here with one more question. Jews have had a storied history in baseball going back to 1860s. So how does it feel that you are a part of that, and you're a key part of that, being on the first Olympic team?
It's amazing. Like I mentioned earlier, just being able to be a source of pride for anyone for any Jewish kids out there that are looking for which athletes are Jewish and which baseball players are Jewish. It's an amazing feeling, and just being thrown into this and not realizing that it was ever a possibility until it actually happened. It's really cool, and to get to go to different stadiums and see people wearing the World Baseball Classic Team Israel hat, people saying we loved watching on Team Israel, and then Jewish kids like I'm Jewish too, I want to play baseball. It's amazing, it's incredible, and definitely not something that I ever saw coming, but now that we're here, it's amazing. And then getting to go to Israel to work with the kids on baseball, a sport that's not huge in Israel, also is amazing, because they have such a passion for the game and really are just looking for some fields to be able to play on and to be able to explore that passion. So another one of the things that we're working on. But yeah, it's amazing. So hopefully more and more kids from Israel will be playing, and yeah.
That's awesome. And on behalf of Maccabi Canada, Ty, Toda Rabah, thank you to our partners at the Virtual JCC. And once again, Ty, thank you so much. Hope you stay safe out there in LA, and come visit us again soon in Montreal, and maybe make a stop in Toronto along the way.
It sounds amazing. I assume it's still snowing in Montreal from what I know about the area, but as soon as the snow melts, I'm there.
Excellent. Thanks again so much. Stay safe, and have a great afternoon.
Same to you.